everyone. Welcome. Finally, we managed to plug it through. My name is Ingvar Ingvarsson. With me are Manolis and Augustine, brilliant experts from ATM. This is the agenda for the Safety Week. As you see, we are a little bit late, and we're very sorry for that, for these technical difficulties. And tomorrow as well, we have ATO flight crew training, and then continuing worthiness. And on day 4, we will touch on cybersecurity and safety leadership. This conference here is something for you to take a look at, World Overflight Risk Conference, and you can grab a screenshot of this before I change the slide, and you can see the link and register in Warsaw in Poland. Now, logistics. All sessions will be recorded and will be available on the Together for Safety YouTube channel right or shortly after the session finishes. We will, and please follow up our AirOps community as well. If you have questions, please use the Slido or the Slido app and use this information here. And please check other people's questions and upvote instead of asking a similar question again. So now I'm going to hand over to Augustine and Manolis, and I think we start.
Yeah. Thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And again, please, our apologies for this technical difficulties we had to get some of our panelists connected. You know, it's Murphy's Law. When something had to go wrong, went wrong. Again, good afternoon, and welcome to this year's ATM ANS slot of the EASA Safety Week. As you all know, our 1.5 hour slot is dedicated to the prevention of runway incursions from an ANS perspective. We all know that runway incursions are part of what is known as runway safety related occurrences, and we all know that they involve the incorrect presence of an aircraft, vehicle, of person on a protected area of a runway, and that in the worst case scenario, a runway incursion may end up in a high energy runway collision with obviously disastrous results. What is noteworthy is that in the EU, the runway collision is amongst the 2 top key risk areas for the ATM ANS domain, for the aerodrome domain, and the AirOps domain. We all know that runway incursions are nothing new. They've been out there for many decades, and that tons of papers have literally been written worldwide about their possible contributory factors, and the global and regional plans, strategies, actions, documents, standards, technologies have been either developed or recommended or implemented for their prevention. Similarly, the aviation rules of all domains almost address the case of runway incursion prevention from various perspectives. So while we are all aware of the possibility for runway incursion, and why we have deeply analyzed what is behind them, and we have shown possible ways of addressing them, they keep on happening. And like history, they repeat themselves. What does it prove? Simply proves that there's lots of work that still needs to be done by everybody at various levels, and that this work is a continuous one. One of the lessons that we have learned is that in order to fight runway incursions, we need to adopt and implement a multidisciplinary and coordinated approach. And this is something that was not discovered yesterday. This has been discovered, identified as a need many years ago. This is the reason that in today's workshop, we have representatives from 3 domains, ATM, ANS, aerodromes, air operators, to share with us their expertise, their experience, their thoughts, and discuss about their expectations on this very subject. Let us introduce our panelists and the presenters for this afternoon, and I will start with Mr. Alberto Rodriguez de la Flor. Yes, Alberto, hello. Our other panelist is Dr. Libo Kurzweil.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
And our third panelist is Mr. Yassin El Charkawi.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes. So I think after this we can start with the presentation that Alberto Rodriguez de la Flor will give us. So a few words for Alberto. Alberto is an ATCO and has worked in the Barcelona ACC and Barcelona Towers. He's an aerospace engineer with postgraduate education, and he also holds an MSc in educational neuropsychology and an MSc in psychobiology and cognitive neuroscience. He has been working for ENAIRE in Spain for almost 10 years, and he's now the head of the Systemic Analysis and Human Performance Department. In the safety division of ENAIRE, he has been a senior expert and has worked in various areas like team resource management, normal operations monitoring, safety applied human factors, safety improvement plans. Before he becoming an ATCO, he had worked for the Spanish CAA, and before that, he also worked as an engineering manager for Airbus. He is also a member of the EASA ATM card and the Human Factors card. So, Alberto, the floor is yours, and we will be literally expecting your presentation, your experience you have had in fighting runway incursions in Spain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manolis. Good afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure to share the little I have learned about a specific topic about runway incursions, because you never know enough about runway incursions. You must keep on learning every day. So may I just share my screen now to start the presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me 1 second. Okay, can you please confirm me that you can see my slides now?
We do.
Yes, please.
You do? That's great. So probably when you think about runway incursions, this is the image that comes out to your mind. So this is mobile, which is crossing from side to side on a runway. But this is not the only type of runway incursions. You have a very specific one, which is not obvious if you think about the concept. And this involves insufficient separation between departing traffic and a subsequent arrival at the same runway. This situation can be really dangerous because it can lead to loss of separation on the ground or to very nasty go-around piggybacks, go-arounds, just like the one we witnessed at Austin Airport and Texas when a FedEx and when a cargo flight performed a go-around just above a departing traffic that was on the takeoff roll. So this is also a very serious incident that even happened in the IMC, as far as I know, which prevented some barriers to recover from the nasty situation. So let me share some experience we had in one of our ATS unit, which is a Malaga Tower. And back in September 2019, we identified a series of high severity incidents. Some of them had not been reported by ATC, so we had to start a monitoring process. This included an automated monitoring of operation in order to detect all losses of separation between departure arrival sequences. The detection rate with this kind of approach is almost 100% of occurrences of all severities. In terms of safety monitoring, it's very good because it provides a very complete picture of what is happening at an ATS unit, but has other impacts. As a drawback, it may distort the perception of how safe an ATS unit is, since the ever-present underreporting factor is removed from the equation. But as a positive impact, it allowed to gather very useful and essential operational safety information. But by that time, we were not aware of that. The first series of incidents, or high severity incidents, required an integrated approach. There was an overall analysis of all incidents of that type that needed to be further understood and under a very much broader perspective. So the initial steps involved a lot of analysis, then understanding the underlying factors in order to have a complete systemic diagnosis. Apart from identifying the symptoms we were having, occurrences we were having wrong incursions, the underlying factors are the important ones to disclose and to discover why your ATM system is suffering from very high fever. So the first analysis led us to have this influence factors tree, so to say. This included the historical set of incidents of that type. So we met in time to analyze and have a look at what's going on. The overall analysis took about 1 month to be completed and triggered the development of the first safety plan, or the first stage of the safety intervention. That was also audited by our NSA and the Official Accidents Investigation Board at Spain. So contrary to our thinking about many incidents and the usual suspects, so to say, in the incidents, language was found not to have any influence on the incidents, on the occurrences. However, operational culture was a key factor in the operational reality. So the factors that we identified, from the closest ones to the operations, like the ones you see at the bottom of the screen, related to human factors, human performance factors anchored on strong cognitive biases, then event proximal factors that were very close to the operation, to the event, shaping the human performance. And this included operational pressure to use nominal gaps for 2 consecutive departures, and some organizational factors related to the operational manual and training. And finally, to cultural factors very deeply rooted at the unit, which were linked to long-standing operational habits. So these habits were due to a previous situation where the runway separation minima had been used, but we removed them from due to an incident. So what was used to be a normal operation turned overnight into runway incursions. So as you can see, the initial plan that was thought to be the only plan quickly developed through the journey and turned finally into a 3 stages plan. So without having managed each stage, we wouldn't have been able to identify the next steps. So everything was complemented by a lot of normal operations monitoring, both on site with over-the-shoulder observations and automatic. And we also had a lot of vigilance and safety governance by our operational safety committee at the company. The actions plan started focusing on the local position working practices, as I said before, but we identified the need to develop further aids for ATCOs to support their decision-making processes by calculating and estimating time references for them for sequence management, for better sequence management. However, at the first steps, we were having still some occurrences, so we kept on analyzing upstream. In a way, in essence, this is the overall map of what we were doing. So we were unwinding the safety plan along the way. We were taking off the peels of the onion so that each stage came naturally to the next one. So in essence, what we did during this time, we were applying an iterative safety plans scheme based on a series of backbone elements. So the first one took about 4 to 5 months to be implemented because training had to be provided for all ATCOs. However, many of the procedural related documents were ready in about a month since the beginning of the plan, of the first plan. This required to be, it was required to be audited inspected oversaw by the NSA and the Accident Investigation Board. But the reality is that we had already started and developed quite a lot of the plan when it was formally required. Besides, the top management supported the plan at the highest level with the Operational Safety Committee, which is composed of the top management of the company. And the ATS unit management implication in the definition of the plan and in their implementation was key to the plan's success, due to the fact that they even proposed a lot of recommendations that were not included at the beginning of the plan, and they started speeding up the implementation of some of the measures before it was required. So the key elements of the global safety, of this global safety intervention, were safety governance, as you can see on the slide, understanding that the operational safety culture had to glue all actions, that the intervention had to be flexible and have an iterative approach, that we need a lot of monitoring in order to grasp a correct understanding of what is going on at the unit, then polishing the procedures that were actually really good, but we needed to refine them a little bit, and bringing all those new procedures, all those guidance material to life by training. So apart from surveying the plan, for oversighting the plan, our NSA also decided to perform quite an unusual task for NSAs, which is to perform an on-site observation campaign. So they went to the tower and they spent several days there, 2 experts from the NSAs performing over-the-shoulder observations. And the results of the exercise were really good, because this brought a lot of trust from the NSA, and there was no major deficiency that was found, and the operational changes were really observable by them. So in a way, we needed to find ways to measure ATM performance when you're working on safety. And if you have to focus on this, you need to develop some metrics to see what's going on and to measure and see if things are working. So while monitoring for undetected occurrences, we were gathering a huge amount of information that could further be exploited. So we used that data to measure how the system was performing, and we developed these metrics to understand how sequences were working. So for each pair of departing traffic and traffic plus departure plus arrival, we defined a set of 3 parameters that were aimed to measure both distance and time. I will explain you a little bit more, and we'll go a bit technical here. So the first parameter is measuring when the departure traffic is crossing the stopper, where is the next arrival? So this is allowing us to measure how the planning is done. The second one is measuring when the departure starts to take off roll, where is the next arrival? Where is the subsequent arrival? This is also measuring, allowing us to measure how the sequence execution is done, because if it's good to close, the ATCO should be is supposed to stop the and cancel the takeoff clearance. So this is measuring how much tight the operation is. And finally, we also measure when the departure overflies the opposite threshold, where is the next arrival. So this is also measuring how tight the overall sequence management is performed. And this is a very provocative question. Does safety management actually work? And how do you prove that? Do you really change the world when you issue safety recommendations? Sometimes it's really difficult because it's such a complex system. It is even difficult to understand when investigating, and moreover to say that due to a recommendation things are changing. Maybe it's not your recommendation, maybe it's something else. But it's always interesting to see and to focus on that kind of questions. So we took all the data, we took all the information that we had gathered through the multilateration system and analyzing all that kind of radar data, and we computed this set of parameters. So this first slide is showing the position of the arrivals when the preceding traffic, departing traffic, is starting to line up. So we measured and showed in this kind of chart the difference between the situation before the action plan and after the safety action plan. And we started seeing some very slight differences that needed to be statistically tested. We noted a kind of a bias to the right, showing a slight hints that things were changing at the tower. This is the same that we did when measuring the second parameter. Where is the next arrival when the departing traffic is starting the takeoff roll, and this is the final situation. So we blended all together into some statistical analysis, and this is what we found. That maybe I will not get into the numbers, into the details, but we took measurements from dates long before the start of the plan and long after it was completed. In total, we analyzed we processed about 9 months of multilateration tracks, and all parameters were tested to show whether there were significant differences in the samples before and after the plan. And this was confirmed by the tests that we used. So the method was found to be so useful for understanding how our system worked, and that it was exported to some other AT tower units like Tenerife North, where we performed a very similar analysis, and to Barcelona Tower, also applying to the cross-runway signal configuration to measure this kind of stuff. Now we are in the process of using ADS-B tracks to perform this kind of analysis as well, and to measure where we have no surveillance systems on the ground. We used a lot of statistical packages here. We developed some Power BI reports, and we developed some Python scripts from standard libraries. So we did not do any rocket science here. We just use Seaborn, Matplotlib, NumPy, Pandas, and SciPy. If you're familiar with Python, you will know all of them for sure. So finally, the performance metrics show that there were slightly better values, which were supported by a reduction of the number of occurrences. So in the overall behavior of the ATM system, when the departures were clear to line up, the next arrival is a bit farther away than before the plan. So then the departures were clear for takeoff and started the takeoff roll. The next arrival is a bit farther away, but not too much. And when the departures were overflying the opposite threshold, the arrival is a bit farther away. The good thing is that it was combined with a reduction in the number of occurrences, and there was no decrease in capacity, which is, as you know, the main opposite force that we need to overcome in terms of safety improvement. And there was also a reduction in the missed approaches, which is something quite good for aircraft operations as well. We still were detecting a number of, not worrying, but a number of losses of separation. And we found out there were some issues with the speed management and the final speeds the traffics were having. So we applied the same approach to the speeds. So we analyzed by using radar tracks. This time were radar tracks. And we found out that there were significant differences per aircraft family type. The chart on the right-hand side shows the speeds distribution over the threshold and 4, 6, 8, and 10 miles out. So you can see that there are some differences starting at mile 4 and significant differences, also speed differences at the threshold. As you may guess, the differences are mainly from the Airbus 320 family and the 737 family, which have different approach for performance. So after some tweaking of the procedures and the SOPs at the approach sectors of Malaga, we also apply the same approach and measure how many of these traffics were complying with the speeds they were supposed to have before and after. And we found out that at mile 8 and mile 4, there were significant increases in the adherence, like about 4% and almost 7% at mile 4, which is the key mile when you need to help the people, the traffic is stabilized. Moreover, we did a bit more. So we needed to see what was going on in terms of occurrences, in terms of simultaneous presence of 2 aircraft on the runway. So by using the monitoring period, we also measured we took the number of all the times we detected this kind of events before and after the plan, and we calculated the ratio of the number of positive detections divided by the number of hours of observation, of analysis. And these are the numbers. So before the plan, we had 0.0146 detection per analyzed hour, and this was reduced by 82% on the south configuration after a plan to 0.0026, and you also can see an almost 86% reduction in the number of events that were precursors of wrong incursions, of this type of wrong incursions. Then you have to question yourself if do safety plans have long-lasting effects, and these are the numbers. So it's really hard to state, but we found some factors supporting the idea that the plans had worked. So one of them is the really change in the ATCO's mindset that you can see and you can really feel when you are there and have a look at how they work and really worry about that when working on a local position. And this is also observable on the over-the-shoulder observations and informal surveys. And another one is this kind of graph that you can see the reduction in the number of incidents of this type and the number of radio when you divide by the exposure available, which is the number of traffics. The key messages from my presentation, which is a bit longer, so I'm sorry, I just overshoot by a couple of minutes, that you need to adopt a systemic mindset when diagnosing a safety issue. So you have the need to look for interaction of factors instead of looking for single root causes. You need complex, you need to find that you be aware that complex contribution interactions require combined approaches. You need to analyze and understand your system before attempting any safety initiative. Be flexible with the plan, really flexible, and with the approach to have long-lasting, if you want to have long-lasting effects. Be aware that cultural changes may take a while, may take a long while to be visible, and it is very positive to be physically there, and not doing safety on your desk and being 100 or 200 kilometers away from the unit. You need to be there. Now, the people will believe you and will be both will be a part of the solution and not the problem. So management and ATCOs are also key in if you involve them, if you want this plan to be successful. So a final remark is that safety figures and occurrences information may bias your mindset towards how things actually work in an ATS unit when no occurrence happens. Things are never black or white, and it takes quite a lot of effort having a balanced and open mindset to understand the right system dynamics shaping its performance. And this is all I have for today. So thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you, Alberto, for this very interesting presentation. Indeed, I realize, and I think everybody on this workshop should have realized that this was not an easy task. It was not let's say, something that you decide to do today and it took you a few weeks to do, but it was rather a long dive that you had to do and to spend time, resources. You were supported by the commitment of your management, and I think that was a decisive factor there. What I would like to know is, because I understand that this was a complex project, both from the analytical, let's say, perspective, and then the implementation perspective, what was the most difficult part that you had to implement, in fact? What did you find most difficult to achieve? And another sub-question, if I may, had to do, because we're saying that runway incursion is a multidisciplinary issue, and their prevention requires coordination with the other key factors, key organizations at an aerodrome. Did you actually need to communicate all your plans and let's say changes you implemented or you plan to implement it with your stakeholders there?
Yes, yes, thanks for the questions. Really very interesting questions. The first one, regarding the most difficult part, I would say that that the hardest part was understanding and really realizing that the problem was a cultural one. So if you ask me about the hardest thing, that was realizing that it was the target for the plan. The difficult parts of the plan were the development. For sure, we faced quite a number of challenges. The first one was addressing the cultural change. So if you want to change a group of almost 60 to 70, I don't remember the exact name, of ATCOs plus a tower management to change their mind about how they have been working for decades, that's really a challenge. And you have to do that with a lot of care and with a lot of human approach to them, and to be there and have you have to develop your relations there. You have to listen to them, because they are the real experts, not me. I am just a catalyst trying to help them perform in a different way, not better, but in a different way. And the second challenge was related to technical things. We had to develop a semi-automated monitoring system that involved processing a lot of data, and we have never done that before. So developing all the logic of the system, identifying when we had some candidates for incidents, that was a bit difficult and required a lot of refinement. But in the end, that was really good, and it was very good, because it was useful for other units. So in a way, when implemented the thing, I would say that the cultural change was difficult, because you need to gain momentum against the natural resistance to change, so to say. And of course, we had to do a lot of communication effort. I think that was key for the plan's success, because we had to be at the tower many times, telling the people what we were discovering, in order to change their minds, in order to build up a new mindset, and trying to make them think about the window of opportunity, and talking to them about the continuation plan bias they have never heard of. And we also had to communicate a lot with the rest of the stakeholders, especially with the airport operator, where we have a very good relationship, thanks to the excellent work, and to the I would acknowledge today that this plan worked because of all the people working at Malaga Tower, not because of us. It was them who made them possible, and they had a very good relation with the airport. They communicated the plan. They had some discussions within the local runway safety committee, where the main operators were also aware of the situation. They also were asked to commit to the plan as well, and to provide as much as they can to comply with the speeds, to listen better to the radio, and to be a part of an overall solution. So that was really a very good thing. As far as we know, the current feedback is that, given the safety records, it's very good as far as I know. So I think we are happy about what happened, because it's a very interesting story about how you can approach safety problems in a very specific way, and not just issuing some standard recommendations, but just going there and trying to understand and be part of you have to merge with the operation and be there and be part of them to really understand what's going on, and how can you help them to evolve, so to say.
Thank you, Alberto. I think that sheds enough light there, and I think the main points, key takeaway points here, at least the way I understood it, was your commitment that you have to, let's say, sit back and see the big picture, to analyze it, to really understand what was behind the underlying reason for this, and that sometimes one need to really invest time and resources to achieve results. And
I would add, sorry to interrupt, but I would add something that I would not say you have to sit back. I
no,
would
no,
say
no,
that
back
you have
and then,
to sit in.
okay. I said sit back meaning
I
to move
understand.
a
Yeah,
little back so that you can see the full picture.
sure,
But
sure.
I
Agree.
surely understand what you meant, but you have to be in to be part of the system.
That's it.
Yeah. So I think we're on the same page here. And I have some other questions, and I'm sure Augustine has other questions too, and our colleagues on the attending this webinar would have more questions, but I think it's time to move forward now with our next panelist. So the next panelist is Dr. Libor Kurzweil. Just allow me, please, to say a few words about Dr. Kurzweil. Dr. Kurzweil holds a PhD from the Czech Technical University of Prague, Czech Technical University in Prague, in airport operation. He has joined the Prague airport in 2003 as an airport engineer in the beginning, and since 2012 he is the Director of Safety, Quality and Process Management, and also the Safety Manager of the airport. He has also been the vice chair of the TOSC, meaning the Technical Operations and Safety Committee of the ACI Europe, and since 2022 he's the chair of that committee. And he's also a European representative to the Safety and Technical Standing Committee of the ACI World since 2021. Dr. Libor, Dr. Kurzweil, please, the floor is yours, and we are looking forward for your presentation.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, and greetings from the Czech Republic. Thank you, Manolis, Augustine, John Franklin, and Jesper Rasmussen for inviting me to speak and for organizing the Safety Weeks, because these are very nice events. Actually, we also have Safety Week in Prague now, and our main activity is the safety bus. This is our way how to be in contact with first-line staff and how to receive the safety reports nowadays. This bus, kindly provided by the operations department, is firstly decorated from outside and then equipped inside with everything we need, the safety posters, the examples of foot found, the quiz materials, and yes, guess what is the most important equipment on board? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is a coffee machine. We go for 2 days across the airport, place by place, stop somewhere for some 15 minutes, and we invite the staff to come in to see the promotion, fill in the quiz. And the best thing on it is to have a coffee and a snack with us and discuss how the real work is, what is painful, what situation or maybe what aircraft stands are problematic for them and why, but also what helps them, because we follow also the safety 2 principles. We make notes, and these notes are later on treated the same way as the safety reports, and the feedback is provided, and where relevant, we do our best to come with a solution for such a pain point. So this is the safety activity actually happening on the apron of Prague Airport. And as Manolis asked me to talk about runway incursion prevention, here is my invitation for all of you to the runway system of Prague Airport, at least virtually. The airport is already 86 years old, and that is why we live with the crossing runway system, and we also live with all its advantages, but also disadvantages. This runway layout also predetermines the hotspots that we have, and we have two. The first hotspot is obviously the crossing point of both runways. It is a junction of those two runways and two taxiways, the rapid exits. So this is the first place for the attention of anyone, including local runway safety team. And the second hotspot is the double crossing of taxiways Delta and Foxtrot across the runway 1230. And I will tell you shortly about the safety issues that we faced on these two hotspots and solutions, how we treated the issues and what we did to improve runway safety and to reduce the number of runway incursions. Now, with the reduction, we can talk about roughly 0.4 to 0.5 events per 10,000 movements every year, and the rate is quite stable. Okay, the local runway safety team. It was well presented yesterday by a number of speakers, so I will skip all the basics to save some time. I will only mention two my things for consideration, so maybe a best practice. The first one is the Microsoft Teams platform. This is what we created during the COVID crisis. We moved all the activities of the local runway safety team from personal meetings to the Microsoft Teams. And now we are obviously fully recovered, but we use the Teams anyway because it is paid off, and we still have a lot of benefits from it. So we have a place to share the documents, we have chat function, invitation to the meetings, and for some members or companies that don't have enough time to be on every meeting, it is the perfect way how they can stay in touch and receive the information from the runway safety domain. The second thing to mention, you can see that amongst our members, we have quite high number of the operators of business aviation aircraft. This is for us very valuable because, as said yesterday, the pilots bring their experience from remote destinations, and with business aviation, you can receive a lot of this experience because they visit many airports, sometimes different airports than the airline pilots. So this is one reason. And the second reason that their operation is a little different. The aircraft equipment is quite different, usually much more advanced than in the airline. So it is a perfect to have a voice of the business aviation pilots in the local runway safety team. This is my recommendation for you. Well, how we treat the runway safety? We decided to implement so-called runway incursion prevention program. This is a written document written by us, the airport, and other companies are partners in this document. It has basically two big parts. The first is the analytics part, where we state how many runway incursions did we have, what were the reasons. So this is a digest from our investigations report. So we investigate into the reasons, and then in the second part of the document we have action plan. Every company in the local runway safety team has its own chapter here in the document. So every company has some points in their own action plan, how to improve runway safety and how to mitigate the risk of runway incursion from their perspective, and what will they do in the next 3 years to help improving runway safety. So every 3 years we renew the document and write a new action plan. Okay, the technology. This is more and more important, and I only wanted to mention some examples what we considered and what we tested here in Prague for runway safety. The first thing, and I will talk about it later regarding the hotspot number 2, the stop bars in LED. This is maybe the way how to make the stop bars better and more visible to pilots, especially the pilots of small aircraft types that are not so high above the ground. Stop bars H24. If you didn't hear, I can just recommend you to listen to the session from yesterday. The Vienna airport and basically all Austrian airports are equipped with H24 stop bars. Just one holding point for one taxiway, a perfectly simple solution that pays off, and this is, I think, an example to be followed. Possibly stop bars cut number 1 for cut 1 operations, reduce spacing. This is an example from Manchester Airport. Again, the way how to make it more visible. Follow the greens. This is obvious and very welcomed by all pilots. Just ask any pilot what he would like to have at the airport, and most of them say the follow the greens. And we have here the navigation system. I will talk about it very soon because this is our own development. And the last testing at the Prague airport a couple of weeks ago, the new runway closure marker, a very nice device that will be supported by the new version of the Annex 14 ICAO. So this is the way how to make the runway closure visible from a distance, and in some cases, especially for an aircraft with loss of communication, this might be the only safety barrier how to mark the runway unusable for them. So as the navigation, this is interesting because it is a child of COVID. In COVID crisis, we asked our IT colleagues if they would have time to develop something for us, and surprisingly, in a couple of weeks, they came back with an excellent application for both mobile phones and tablets, and we also have a version for the dispatch room, where you can see the map of the airport, all the live traffic from the ASMGCS own position. We have alerts for runway safety and also for apron safety. This is the case displayed here, where the aircraft, or pardon, the vehicle is alerted when the aircraft comes closer to the crossing point with the service road. So this is nowadays the big pillar of runway safety at Prague Airport, and we will continue developing this system for the future. We have many ideas how to improve it even more, and to me, it is a great example what can be done if the people in the company have some free time, which was the case because of the COVID crisis. Yes. And now I would like to make a little flashback to the past and tell you what kind of safety issues we faced on those two previously presented hotspots. The first hotspot you can remember was the runway crossing. So at this point we faced two types of runway incursions. The first one was vacating runway 24 via runway 12 after landing, and the second was not respecting the phrase hold short of runway 12 when taxiing to the runway 12 for departure. The hotspot was that day quite complicated with a lot of signs. Also, we had a stop bar on the runway, quite rare solution. The stop bar was intended for the aircraft taxiing. So we took a chance in the 2012 and 2013 during the general reconstruction to change the system very significantly. We went for simplification. Now we have so-called common holding points on taxiways for both runways. This is used, and this is much better than previously used the phrase hold short of, because we found in our investigations that pilots are not in every case familiar with such a phrase hold short of runway. So we paid something because the holding points are a little farther from the runway, so the lineup time is a few seconds longer, but the runway safety is much higher, and since then we basically didn't record any significant incident, which is a perfect result for us. The second hotspot, as I said, a double crossing of Delta and Foxtrot across the runway 1230. This is the point where we have this disadvantage of the crossing runway system. The crossing system is perfect for crosswind operations, but you can see that for every aircraft that visit Prague, we basically create additional chance to cause runway incursion, which is at this point. So we had approximately 3, 4, or 5 incursions yearly in this double crossing. We decided to fight against these runway incursions by implementation of H24 stop bars. So we have stop bars here only at this double crossing. The rest of bars are used just for LVP. So we have little different procedures here and at other points at the airport, but it shows that it is possible in case the procedures are robust enough. It can be treated this way. Again, satisfaction, and since then, no runway incursions. And because nothing is perfect, we still have things to do, and the current issue is connected with stop bars. Again, some negative side of stop bar operations. I still don't know exactly what is happening to us, but the fact is that in last years, in the period 2022 to 24, we recorded some crossings of a lead stop bar, and in the past it was not a problem. The LVP operation was always just flawless without any incidents, and since the 2022 it somehow changed. So what we did, in every case, we first checked the infrastructure, the visibility of stop bars, quality of lighting, quality of signage, marking, and all the other infrastructural things. Then the procedures, if the LVP was recorded on ATIS, what was the instruction, because surprisingly this was always connected with so-called cloud-based LVP. This is the type of LVP where the low clouds are, and on the ground, if you taxi on the ground, you can see sometimes to a longer distance. So the crews in some cases reported that they had not expected the LVP to be still active because the weather was improving significantly. So okay, and in this case we test those new stop bars, and because we are very satisfied with the result, probably this might be a solution how to fight against this type of incursions. We also did a lot of prevention and safety promotion. This is example of safety brief 81, where we tried to inform the pilot about the specifics of the cloud-based LVP. Yes, and this is my last slide. Again, the thing repeated many times yesterday and also today, the global action plan for the prevention of runway incursions, and I am presenting it again because it makes a lot of sense. It is a very new document with the most fresh information about the topic about runway safety and the recommendation. This is the volume 1. It is already out, and all the stakeholders in innovation so a chapter in the document, and they can already now do an audit against the recommendation given in the document. Because I'm part of the GAPRI development team, I know that the volume 2 with guidance material and the best practices is almost finished and will be published soon. We need just a couple of weeks to read it once again, some fine tuning, and it will be hopefully a great source of information for airports, ANSPs, aircraft operators, and also regulators how to treat runway safety in upcoming years. So again, thank you for the listening. It was my pleasure, and I look forward for a question.
Thank you, Dr. Libov, for this very interesting presentation. In fact, it was our pleasure to hear you talking about your experience at Prague Aerodrome with the prevention of runway incursions. What I found very interesting is the way you operate your local runway safety team, and obviously you pay, I would say, more than enough attention to its adequate and proper operation, and the technologies, the little technological miracles that you have made there, and obviously. You have shown us that you don't hesitate to take the necessary steps, for example, to do infrastructural changes when they are needed, because you found out that that would be the necessary step to take as an aerodrome. One thing that, however, drew my attention is what you mentioned with the operation of the stop bus. I understand that you have adopted an H24 policy in the operation of stop bus at Prague, and there have been certain cases where the crews did not, let's say, respect the red lights. So my question would be, actually, I have two questions. The first one would be something that perhaps it's worthy, let's say, hearing in this discussion. If we have stop bus at an aerodrome, why don't we operate them 24 hours continuously? Since we all know that it is one of the, let's say, essential parts for the prevention of runway incursions. This is something that we find in the ICAO material, found everywhere. That's the first thing. And what would you recommend to the other ANSPs and aerodrome operators in that respect, provided, of course, that they have stop bars at their aerodromes. And the other question is, do you actually believe that the known, let's say, harmonized use of stop bars is a source
Time
of potential?
to taxi to the runway. So we pay for high runway safety by less capacity. It was calculated yesterday by the CA Austria that you may lose some 3 to 3.5% of your capacity if you use just get 2-3 holding points. But I would recommend this way anyway, because you could see that especially the layout of an airport is just excellent, very simple, just one holding point. It is very easy for all the players, first of all pilots, to get oriented there, and this is, I think, not a high price for an excellent runway safety. It could be also a more workload for ATC operating of such stop bars H24, but today we have quite advanced systems for tower operations, including the ASMGCS levels 3 and 4, the electronic strips, and if we connect the information together, I believe also the stop bars could be operated automatically by the system, and the workload for ATC could remain the same as today. Yes, and finally, it might depend on local availability, because, for example, our case, we have 2 runways, but only 1 runway is LVP, so the second runway is not equipped with such as stop bars, and there are quite interesting discussions about the option to operate stop bars just in some part of the airport and not the rest of the airport. It is obviously disadvantage, but I believe if there are robust procedures behind, it can be operated also this way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That was enlightening. And here comes the other part I wanted to ask you, again with relation to the stop bars, because I think this is quite an interesting subject for discussion. We have seen and we have heard in other occasions that the known, let's say, standardized use of stop bars may be the source of confusion for pilots, but not only pilots. So what do you think? First of all, would you agree with that? And if you would agree, what do you think would be the solution here?
Yes, of course, I agree with you. I don't want to forget that we operate every day thousands and thousands of flights very successfully without any incidents, and just time to time in single cases we face runway incursions. So in general, the system works very well, and we only have to find the ways how to improve it to, let's say, a perfection. Of course, if we operate these stop bars only sometimes or only somewhere, it might confuse the pilots in those single cases. But we can do a lot to improve their situational awareness. I asked a chief pilot of an airline flying to Prague, but in the network they fly 1,000 flights a day, which is impressive, and they have a perfect safety record, not only with us, but generally across their record. their numbers of runway incursions are completely different and much lower than the average. So I asked him how it was possible because I was very interested, and he told me that he thinks that it is due to the robust procedures of the company. So my recommendation is to follow the companies that are already very successful. We have many of them. We can learn from them. And as was said yesterday and today, many times collaboration is the very key in our industry.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kurzweil. Thank you for this very precise answer. And I think without any undue delay, we should now proceed to the next presentation, which is going to be given by Yassin El Chakawi. So a few words for Yassin. Yassin holds an MBA in Aviation Management and an MSc in Finance. He started his career in 2009 as an ATCO for the Moroccan Airport Authority, and there he led the SMS implementation for the ANS and the aerodrome areas, amongst other projects he led. Between 2018 and 22, he has been working with IATA in the Africa and the Middle East for the implementation of various IATA initiatives regarding the free route space, flexible use of space, and the transition to performance-based navigation, and the introduction of continuous climb descent operation procedures. As of 2024, he is the Assistant Director of the Air Traffic Management Infrastructure for IATA Europe, and he is also a member of the EASA ATM card. So, Yassin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Manuel. Thank you very much for the panelists, and good afternoon, everyone. So I would like to just share my presentation. Please let me know when you see the presentation. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. So first, I would like to thank EASA and Manuelis and the entire team for this invitation. We believe this is a great opportunity to raise awareness about runway incursion risks, discuss the current challenges, and also explore areas for improvements. So as far as IATA presentation is concerned, we will cover 3 items during this presentation. The first item regarding runway incursion, global and regional rates. So we'll present a short analysis on runway incursion historical rates, both globally and at the European level. Second item will cover the CABRI that you have already, I'm sure you had the opportunity to get more information about it in the previous presentation and also during today's presentation. CABRI is an additional mitigation measure which exceeds the regulatory requirements or go beyond regulatory compliance. The last item is recommendation. There is a few recommendations that we consider will improve safety and mitigate the risk of runway incursions. So first, I would like just to share that the analysis and the information we'll be presenting in the following slides will be based on GADAM. GADAM is a global aviation data management. It's an IATA data management platform which integrates many sources of operational information or operational data from different sources, including IATA unique programs, such as the the Incident Data Exchange Program, IDX, and FDX, the Flight Data Exchange Program, in addition to other additional operational data sources such as weather and NOTAMs. So the GADAM provide a comprehensive data-driven approach for trend analysis and predictive risk mitigation. So with regard to the information I will be presenting in the next slides, those are IATA is not legally liable for any loss or damage related to the use of this information. And also this information should not be reproduced or reformatted or recast in any format, partially or in whole, without any written permission by IATA. So here you can see at the global level, the bars representing the number, the traffic, and the curve representing the runway incursions rates per million movement. So we can see in the graph that the rates are kind of steady, or between the period of 2020 and 2024. However, with the expected increase in traffic, which is globally around 3.4% per year till 2041, while keeping these rates, it is likely that the number of runway incursions will increase unless other mitigation measures or defenses are put in place. So globally, you can see from this classification of runway incursions events that at the top of the list, you can see that aircraft vehicle entry onto the runway protected area is at the top. We can see again at the top of the list that runway incursion not specified. And this is again a very important issue is regarding reporting, because sometimes, not only for airlines, but for all service providers, the reporting is not complete, and this is a critical issue. So when we would like to report an incident, we need to make sure that all the information is included. That will allow after that proper investigation of the event. So at the European level, you can see that the green line represents Europe, or the green curve represents Europe, and the black curve is representing the global runway incursion rates. You can see that the European rates are kind of volatile compared with global rates. Again, with an average annual traffic growth of 2.1%, if no additional measures are put in place, the risk of, or the number of runway incursions will likely be increasing. So here you can see classification of runway incursions per type. You can see that at the top of the list is like the global picture. At the European level, we can see that aircraft vehicle entry into the runway protected areas is at the top, and at the bottom we can see crossing with runway news and other type of events. So again, we said that there is a need for additional set of measures so to tackle this growth of traffic and also to mitigate the risk of runway incursions. As you all know, runway incursion is a complex issue that involves many factors that can only be addressed through a global approach involving a navigation service provider, aerodrome operators, aircraft operators, regulator, and so on and so forth. So as a result of that, the industry or the different stakeholders launched what we call the GABRI initiative, which is initiative to address these risks through a set of recommendations, which are based on data analysis from different sources, globally and regionally, combined with operational expertise. So, as far as the recommendations are concerned, we consider that the GABRI is a very good mitigation measure. That is why we call on service providers, as airlines already, some of our members are already doing, is to conduct a gap analysis against GABRI recommendation in order to assess our degree of compliance with this recommendation. Based on this gap analysis, action plans can be developed, and most importantly, these action plans need to be coordinated. And here we will, after that, we'll discuss the role of local runways safety team as a cooperation instruments. After the development of action plans, an impact assessment needs to take place. During this impact assessment, we will conduct what you call risk management is part of the change management. After that, we will implement these recommendations. And after the implementation, we need to collect information to assess the degree of what you call it, effectiveness of the measures that have been implemented. And last but not least is the sharing of information and expertise. The second recommendation is related to local runway safety teams. Local runway safety teams, it's a very important platform, not only for the coordination of the action plans of the different stakeholders, because runway incursions involve many stakeholders and their action plans need to be coordinated. And this coordination, and the objective of this coordination is to exploit synergies and avoid duplication of efforts. And the local runway safety team is the right platform for that. An additional important role of runway safety teams is the implementation of GABRI recommendations. As you know, GABRI recommendations are not one size fits all recommendations. They need to be implemented, taking into consideration local circumstances. That is why, hence the role of local runway safety teams in facilitating the local implementation of these recommendations. Again, local runway safety team needs to include all the impacted stakeholders, because sometimes we tend to overlook some key players, for example, military, general aviation, and so on and so forth. Sorry. Regarding the other two recommendations, one is regarding the reactive, what you call it, reactive mode or reactive safety management. i.e. here we are discussing the investigation of occurrences. So there are many types of occurrences. We all know that some safety occurrences, such as accidents and safety incidents, are states are mandated to investigate this type of occurrences as per Annex 13. However, lately, between 2018 and 2022, out of 214 accident investigation reports, only 96 have met what you call the ICAO requirements laid down in Annex 13. Notably, that after an accident, the preliminary report needs to be sent to ICAO within the 30 days of the accidents. Second requirement is that final reports, accidents final reports, needs to be published within 12 months of the accidents. The third requirement is that in case the accident investigation reports cannot be published within 1 year, an interim, what you call it, an annual interim statements need to be published every year. till the publication of the final report. So from 214 accident investigation reports globally, only 96 meet these requirements, with 31 only have been published within 1 year, and 58 accident investigation reports being published between 1 year and 3 years. So in order to take advantage of this investigation report to avoid the recurrence of accidents, these reports need to be timely. So i.e. that it needs to be published as soon as possible. It needs to be thorough and complete, because many of these reports didn't meet the standards of thoroughness, and also they need to be accessible. So as you can see, many states they try to share this report online in order to promote access to hazard and related risks for the benefit of the safety globally. However, some states they don't publish these reports, or even they publish them in the state language, and you might not find an English version of this report. So we call on, just to sum up this part, we call on timely, complete and accessible accident investigation report as an enabler for safety improvements. Again, not all safety occurrence warrant an official investigation from states by states. For example, other events can be other than accidents, serious incidents can be investigated by service providers. And we encourage service providers to investigate these events and all occurrences that put or may put their services at risk. And also, most importantly, is to share these reports organization-wide, and even distribute it to all concerned parties that might benefit from these findings. Could be the entire aviation community. The last recommendation is regarding predictive data analytics for safety management. Service provider can consider taking part in these programs. For example, IATA has the GADAM, the Global Aviation Data Management, is as I said, is a platform where all airlines they share information, they share data in this platform, and this data gets analyzed. And after the analysis and the identification, this data is used to improve safety, to identify new risks, and to mitigate them. For example, members of this platform can carry out what you call benchmarking or conduct benchmarkings, so they can benchmark their performance against other airlines and other peers. And also, members can access safety and operational data that highlights critical trends globally and regionally, as well as any anticipated operational challenges at specific airports. So I'm aware that EASA has also a similar program, which is Data for Safety, where different stakeholders voluntarily can share their data with the objective to share knowledge and analyze this data to identify new trends that we can tackle in a predictive and proactive way. So I guess my presentation comes to an end, and I thank you for your time and ready for any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yasin, for your very interesting presentation. I think there are a few items that we definitely need to take with us when leaving this workshop, and I mean the figures and the words you said, that the data shows that, I will put it in my own words, that if we don't act in the future, there may be an issue that we will face. So I think this is something that we should very seriously take into account, not just regulators, everybody, and I guess that this message goes across the globe. I would definitely remember that slide. Now, we have seen the basic pylons of your presentation about the importance of the safety investigation, the need to have a timely, let's say, investigation reports, to have data quality when it comes to those investigation reports, because it's one thing to have something that is quite a different thing to have something that makes sense, that you can actually understand what it says and can search it later on. About the importance of being able to not just act reactively, but also on a predictive mode. The one thing that, however, I would like to ask you is, what do you think, if you could describe, in fact, the expectations of the aircraft operators and the flight crews from an ANSP when it comes to the prevention of runway incursions? That's the one thing. And the other thing is, if you could name us the 3 areas that you believe, in your experience, based on the data you have analyzed so far, that the European ANSPs should pay particular attention to and should try to improve?
Thank you very much, Manuelis, for this very important question. So I guess I believe that shared situational awareness is a very important aspect. So the use of common frequency to the maximum possible, it's encouraged. So different communication challenge will impede situational awareness. Also, there are some language barriers. So the use of English as a common communication language is also very important. And also the adherence to standard phraseology. So I guess those are all factors that will increase situational awareness, and we believe they are very critical. Another important point, which is, I guess Alberto has alluded to also, is the human factor. Human factor, I can explain it from another aspect, which is operational cross awareness. For example, air traffic controllers, they have. I used to be air traffic controller, and I had little information about the workload of flight crew, for example. And the same flight crew, they don't have a full picture of the kind of pressures and workload of air traffic controllers. So if we can facilitate this sharing of information, so everyone in the chain get to know the different constraints and the different challenges of the other parts, this will go a long way in improving safety. And a good example is in the GABRI. You can see in one of the recommendations is the recommendation is calling for example, air traffic controllers not to change the runway assignments for an aircraft which is taxiing for departure, or an aircraft which is already on the final approach. So because this change might seems have no impact, however, this kind of change will lead to a high workload at the cockpit level. The crew need to prepare, need to debrief, and all these things. So if we can we call it break these silos, and all the parties involved, they can have a kind of minimum understanding or empathy. They know what's going on the other side. This will go a long way in improving safety in general, not only about runway incursions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yasin. Augustine, do we have questions from the audience?
So far, we have got one question via Slido, but it's regarding the phraseology. So we will try to answer the questions and provide the feedback to the audience later on. And I don't see any other questions so far.
Okay, that's interesting. Then I have another question, because we have heard what Yasin said at the end about the improvement of situational awareness, and I would like to let's say ask the other panelists' opinion about this. So let's start with Alberto. Alberto, what is your opinion about the position of that Yasin just submitted?
Regarding Jacin's remark on the importance of human factors, yes, I agree on that. If that's what you mean.
No, that's one thing, definitely. But the other thing was he started mentioning, putting the let's say the situational awareness, and he mentioned
The cross-domain awareness of
exactly
yeah,
language,
that's it.
etc., etc.
Yeah, I fully agree with Yasin. This is something that we have already experienced in the past. The lack of knowledge of what's going on in other in the other side of the frequency, not only of the frequency, but also on the other side of the hotline when you're talking to a collateral ACC, when we are talking with our Morocco colleagues or our Argentine colleagues or our French colleagues. It is very important to know how they work and how they what is the workload and what are the problems, what are the things that can act as threats to them. And especially if we are talking about wrangling cautions, there are two key stakeholders at stake. One is the airport operator, and the other ones are the crews. So it is really important to make them aware of what's going on. I can share some experience we had some years ago at Barcelona Tower. We fostered an initiative with the two main airlines there. One of them is still remaining. We started up a cross-visit program with Vueling Airlines at the beginning, and then with Ryanair. And then we invited a lot of pilots to visit the tower so that they could grasp what was going on, how we did, for instance, the runway configuration change during the morning rush hour. And conversely, we were able to fly with the pilots so that we could see what is the workload and why they did not respond sometimes when you're issuing a clearance and stuff like that. So this is in some reverse in the overall safety and efficiency of the operation. So it is very beneficial, and the investment is really, really low in terms of what you have to do, just for some organization and some dissemination. And the benefits that you get is, it's really invaluable. The amount of knowledge you can gather for your ATCOs and the knowledge that you can give to your pilots if you're an airline. So, yeah, I would support that.
Yeah, thank you, Alberto. What is, let's say, an aerodrome operator's view on the statement that Yasin made before about the language barriers? He mentioned English, the phraseology, and so on and so forth. How would you approach this?
Yes, thank you. This is actually a hot topic in airports community, because you might know that the new regulations says that since 2026 we should all communicate in English with the ATC, which is a very nice idea. I would support it. However, I think it does not target the causes of the incidents investigated, at least investigated by our safety office. because we see the communication as a factor, but it is not a language which is the main problem. It is basically the communication itself, because we still use the old-fashioned radios. The communication is really fast. This is a great advantage, but this is all. The other things are mostly disadvantages, especially could be language barrier, but also the quality of the transmission. Many stations can transmit at the same time and block the frequencies and so on. So I would not only pay attention to the language spoken, but the communication technology itself. And I would bet that in upcoming years we will talk more and more about the change from the voice comms to some more modern way with the use of the digital technologies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Libo, on this. Augustine, do we have any other question on the chat?
No.
Okay. Then I think, considering also the time, which is, well, approaching 4 o'clock, we may try to wrap up, or what do you think, Augustine?
Yes, we
Yes.
can
Okay.
try.
We can try then to wrap up what we have seen. We have seen from Alberto's presentation, I would say that perhaps when we are looking for the source, the cause of a runway incursion, we may need to look a little bit further than usually. And I think the examples that he gave us were very educative in that respect. He has tried successfully, I think, to give us another perspective of how we sometimes need to approach things, to have the big picture in mind, that we need to commit. And I think that was a part of the key message he mentioned 2 or 3 times, because the trip that perhaps we need to engage would require extra efforts, and I think that was the case of the plan he mentioned. But I think it's also rewarding, because one of the things that, if I can recall well, that Alberto said was that they managed to somehow export the methodology and the tools they came up with in other operating environments. And of course, they brought down the figures of runway incursions. We would also take with us that when it comes to humans, sometimes not sometimes, most of the time, it's very difficult to change overnight. I think it's rather impossible. So we need to try a little bit harder there, and we need to do that as humans, if I can recall well. Correct me, Alberto, if I'm wrong here, but I think you meant that we need to show empathy in that respect. Okay. Now, if I can move on to the presentation of Dr. Libo, I think that was him, if I can put it like this, to the operation of the local runway safety team, towards an example of a functioning and productive local runway safety team, a team where all operational actors are brought together. They can discuss. They can discuss ideas. They can even discuss ideas which go beyond regulatory compliance, because we have seen examples there, and ideas which have been implemented, which are not in any regulatory requirement. And this is another piece of proof of what commitment to safety can lead to. We have also seen that things that, although sometimes are regulated, it doesn't really matter, like red is red, and you should never cross a red stop bar. They are still there, and we all know that because they are there, we are having this discussion, this very discussion. So if I can put it otherwise, the regulations themselves, I would say they are not adequate all the time. They can create a framework within which everybody can operate, but from time to time, not actually from time to time, continually, we need to keep everybody's awareness and try to test the defenses that we have put in place to see how safe our system is and will be in the future. And I will try to link the last sentence with the slides that Yasin has shown us. The ones that go if I can put in my own words, his message, that the future, if everything goes like this, might not be, I would say, might require extra attention. Let's put it like this. So we need to do something before we reach that point. And he gave us the example and the suggestion about the GAPRI. He provided us also with basic pylons, basic, let's say, building blocks upon which one should, an oversight system, but also an organization should rely on to make that extra step towards the, let's say, the fighting of runway incursions. I would dare to also say that that is something that applies not only for runway incursions, but for any other safety risks. I hope you have enjoyed this workshop. Augustine, we have a question?
Two questions.
Yeah,
Two questions, yes.
there are two questions. One is basically addressing to Alberto whether there is a kind of the report that can be shared and the lesson learned. It referred to Barcelona experience, but I believe the question, because Alberto presented the Malaga experience, but maybe there is something also in Barcelona. So the question is whether there is some report, Alberto, if you can potentially answer or not, or
do you mean a report about Barcelona initiative or the Malaga one?
It's I'm reading it from the Slido. Is there a report that describes the Barcelona experience and lesson learned? So that's the question, you know.
Yes, we have an internal report, but as you may guess, it's a safety report and that cannot be disclosed. We have, however, some safety clips, some kind of news, internal news that could be shared some if the participant is interested. But you know, this today we have shared quite a lot of information about our safety reports, and yeah, this is as far as we can get.
Yeah. And there is one more question, or maybe a remark from the audience about the language proficiency, demonstration of the English proficiency. So at the due date from the airdrome regulation in 2026. And regarding this, we would like to share maybe the information which is, I believe it was already announced. So we are doing a research study about the 111, so-called, which is one language, you know, used by all the all the stakeholders. So we do a research. Hopefully, by the summer this year, we will have a final result, and then we can also share with the public, the outcome of this report. There probably will be some recommendations. There will be some outcomes, how to proceed with the language itself. So hopefully we can get some good hints from this research for the future work on the prevention of runway incursion. Thank you.
Yeah, that's for sure. I remember this research which started a few years ago, and exactly the title is what it says, the triple one, and the potentials for implementation. So I think what Augustine says is it's more than true. So that report would provide us with lots of inside information of what's happening around Europe at various aerodromes, what solutions they have found, what methodology they apply there, and all this, of course, will be used by us in the best way, always having in mind the need to address this issue, which, as I said in the beginning, it's amongst the top two, not just for ATM ANS, but for aerodromes and aerops, because it takes, in this case, 3 to, I don't know, to dance.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not tango here anymore. So, if we don't have any other question, then I think we can close this workshop. It has been a pleasure from our side to host this activity, and I hope that everybody has taken something with him or her after we finish this event. So, Alberto, Libo, Yasin, the floor is yours to say the last word.
I start I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share our experience on this topic and try to disseminate the idea that we can do safety in a different way. As the classical way, incident, recommendations, implementation, but just more overall focusing on what's going on when nobody's looking and when there is no incident. So thanks a lot for the opportunity.
We thank you. Dr. Libo?
Yes, thank you all for the great workshop. It was an excellent opportunity for us to show you something from our work, and I really appreciate this community. And that's all from my side. Thank you, and we all are safety.
We thank you, Dr. Libo. Yasin?
Thank you very much, and I would like to thank EASA especially for the quality of the organization, and of course we are looking forward to take part in other events to raise awareness along with other top safety topics. Thank you very much.
As I said, we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time now to close this workshop. From Cologne, we would like to wish you have a great afternoon or another, let's say, morning, I don't know, wherever you are. And let us agree that we will meet in a future safety event that the EASA will be organizing. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Nice afternoon.